Hello, my friend. Today, I want to tell you a story that begins long before the world heard the word Elvis. It begins in a small hospital room on a cold January morning in Mississippi, where a boy entered the world with nothing, no money, no status, no special opportunities. But he carried something inside him, something invisible, something powerful. Some people might call it destiny, others might call it a gift. But in this story, you will see how one quiet boy, raised in poverty, became one of the most famous voices in human history. And as you listen, you will hear simple English, clear emotions, and a story that will help you understand and feel every word. Elvis Aaron Presley was born on January 8, 1935, in Tupelo, Mississippi. His family was very poor. His father, Vernon, worked simple jobs. His mother, Gladys, worked whenever she could. Life was not easy for them, but they had something stronger than money. They had love. Gladys loved her son deeply, and Elvis loved his mother more than anything. Their connection shaped him, comforted him, and followed him for the rest of his life, even when the world tried to tear him apart. When Elvis was young, he was shy. He didn't talk much. He didn't have the confidence he later showed on stage. In fact, many people ignored him. But even though he was quiet, there was something special happening inside him. Something growing, something waiting. His first moment of magic happened when he was just 10 years old. There was a local singing contest at the Mississippi-Alabama Fair. Elvis wanted to join, but he was nervous. His mother pushed him gently and said, "You can do it, baby." And so little Elvis walked onto a small stage, stood in front of strangers, and began to sing. He didn't win first place, but he won something else. He won a spark. When he heard the applause, when he felt the sound of people listening to him, something inside him lit up. That day didn't change the world, but it changed him. And that is where all great stories begin, inside a single moment. As Elvis grew older, his family moved to Memphis, Tennessee. Memphis was filled with music, blues, gospel, country, rhythm and blues, voices from black churches, guitars from street corners, heartbreaking songs from radio stations. Elvis listened to all of them. He didn't care about categories or color or rules. He loved all music. He felt all music, and slowly, the music began to shape his voice, a voice the world had never heard before. When Elvis graduated from high school, he didn't become a singer immediately. He worked simple jobs. He drove a truck. He lived quietly. But one day, he walked into a small studio called Sun Records. He wanted to record a song as a gift for his mother. He paid a few dollars, stood behind a microphone, and began to sing. The owner of Sun Records, Sam Phillips, listened. At first, he didn't think much about it. Elvis was good, but not unforgettable. But a few months later, Sam invited Elvis back, along with 2 musicians. The group began to play, but nothing exciting happened. They sounded normal, they sounded safe, and then something unbelievable happened. During a break, Elvis picked up his guitar and began to play a fast, playful song. He didn't think anyone was listening. He was just having fun. But Sam Phillips heard the spark, heard the energy, heard the future. He rushed into the room and shouted, "That's it! That's what I'm looking for!" And in that moment, rock and roll changed forever. The first big hit was "That's All Right." When the song played on the radio, everything exploded. Phone lines were full. People asked, "Who is this boy? Who sings like this?" Some thought he was black. Some thought he was white. Some people didn't care. They just loved the sound. They loved the freedom in his voice. They loved the emotion in every word. Elvis became famous almost overnight. His concerts were wild. Girls screamed. Boys copied his style. Parents were shocked. Reporters wrote about his dancing, calling it dangerous, shocking, even out of control. But the more they complained, the more people loved him. The world had never seen anything like Elvis Presley. He didn't just perform music, he became music. But here is the part that many people forget. Behind the fame, behind the flashing lights, there was still a gentle boy who loved his mother, who never felt truly confident, and who constantly questioned himself. Fame made him shine, but it also made him lonely. As his popularity grew, Elvis was invited to perform on national television. Millions of people watched him, and suddenly, Elvis was not just a singer, he was a cultural earthquake. His hairstyle, his voice, his smile, his moves, everything became iconic. People didn't just listen to Elvis. They imitated him, they idolized him, they dreamed of being like him. Then came the biggest nickname of his life, the King of Rock and Roll. But Elvis didn't call himself a king. He always said, "There's only one king and that's God." But the world didn't listen. The world crowned him anyway. At the height of his fame, something unexpected happened. Elvis was drafted into the United States Army. Many people thought this would end his career. But Elvis went without complaint. He served like any other soldier. He didn't ask for special treatment. He didn't act like a star. He followed orders. He worked hard. And during this time, something heartbreaking happened. His mother died. Her death broke him completely. Elvis cried for days. His heart was shattered. But he continued serving in the military, even though he felt lost inside. When he finally returned home, he was different. Stronger, but also quieter. After the Army, Elvis returned to music and movies. He became even more famous, starring in films, recording albums, and performing concerts. He moved into his legendary home, Graceland. People traveled from all over the world just to stand outside the gates, hoping to see him. But fame is not a friend. Fame takes as much as it gives. And Elvis gave everything. As the years passed, Elvis became tired. His schedule was heavy. His emotions were heavy. His marriage broke apart. His health began to fall. And the world that once adored him now watched him with curiosity, confusion, even criticism. Yet even when he was exhausted, even when he was hurting, he continued to perform. Because the stage was the only place where he felt alive, the only place where the shy boy from Mississippi disappeared, and the king returned. In his final years, Elvis struggled. He fought with his body, his mind, and the pressure of fame. But one thing never changed: his voice. Even when his world was falling apart, his voice remained powerful, emotional, human. On August 16, 1977, the world received the tragic news. Elvis Presley was gone, just 42 years old. Too young, too soon, too unbelievable. The world cried. Radio stations played his songs non-stop. Fans gathered outside Graceland in silence. The king was gone, but his influence remained. And today, even decades later, people still feel his music, still imitate his style, still whisper his name. So what made Elvis so special? Why did he rise from poverty to global fame? Why do people still remember him today? Here is the answer. Elvis Presley did not just sing songs. He expressed emotion. He connected hearts. He broke boundaries. He blended cultures. He created a sound the world had never heard before. He was not just an artist. He was a revolution. His story teaches us something powerful. Greatness does not need perfect beginnings. It needs passion. It needs courage. It needs a heart that refuses to stay silent. Elvis Presley was a boy with no money, but he had music. He had the courage to step on a stage. He had the ability to feel deeply. And because of that, he became the king of rock and roll. Today, as you learn English through this story, remember this. Every new word you learn, every sentence you understand, every story you listen to, brings you closer to your own greatness. And just like Elvis, you don't have to start with everything. You only need a spark. The world will take care of the rest.